Open partianthesis. The Aethelwood was a labyrinth of living things, a rainforest so vast and ancient that mapmakers simply labeled interior uncharted. Elara, leaning over a rickety table at the forest's edge outpost, didn't care for convention. She was a cartographer of the lost. Driven by a fragmented, centuries-old vellum she believed led to the sunken temple, a ruin rumored to hold irreplaceable botanical secrets. "I seek a guide, the best one," Elara announced to the outpost chief, her voice practical, professional. "Someone who can ignore their compass." The chief smirked, pointing to a lean figure carving wood near a dying fire. "That's Rion. He doesn't use a compass or maps. He is the forest. Good luck convincing him." Rion was quiet, his clothes the color of damp earth, his eyes the deep green of the canopy's shade. When Elara approached, he merely assessed her expensive, modern gear, her focused determination, and shook his head. "The Aethelwood does not welcome those who seek to take from it. Go back." Elara sighed, pulling out the vellum map. It was brittle, marked with strange glyphs and faded star alignments, completely useless to any normal navigator. "I am not a looter. I am an archivist. I seek knowledge to preserve, not plunder." She unfolded the most important section, revealing a highly stylized symbol of a twisting, heart-shaped vine. Ryan froze. His green eyes narrowed, then darted down to his left wrist, barely visible beneath his tunic. There, carved into his skin, was a faint, nearly identical tattoo. The shared symbol shattered his isolation. "That mark, where did you find this map?" Ryan's voice was low, rough, edged with generations of guarded secrets. "It belonged to my ancestor, another cartographer," Elara explained, seizing the moment of connection. "They never found the temple, but they left this symbol. It means something to you, doesn't it?" Ryan hesitated, a long silence filled only by the chirping of unseen insects. He saw the genuine, knowledge-seeking fire in her eyes, a stark contrast to the greedy gleam he was used to. The ancient symbol was a promise, a lineage he couldn't ignore. "The Aethelwood is a path of the living. It will test your every step. If I guide you, you follow my every command. No technology, no disrespect." Elara felt a jolt of triumph, but kept her voice steady. "Agreed. Where do we start?" Ryan stood up, extinguishing the fire with a practiced kick. He gestured toward the impossibly dense wall of vegetation. "We start where the forest forgets its edge. Follow me, cartographer." The sun was already sinking, casting long, menacing shadows as they stepped into the overwhelming, whispering embrace of the Aethelwood. Inside the Aethelwood, Elara's precision quickly became useless. The forest floor was a chaotic tapestry of moss and root systems. Sunlight was a distant memory, and the air was thick with the scent of decay and overwhelming life. Worse, her high-tech navigational compass spun wildly. "Magnetic interference," Kale muttered, tapping the useless dial. Rion didn't even glance back. "The Earth here holds secrets older than your technology. Put the metal away. It will only confuse you." He moved with a fluid, silent grace, navigating the impossible terrain by instinct alone. He taught Elara to read the forest's subtle language, the way the whispering vines draped toward the freshest water sources, the faint, high-pitched calls of the skylarks indicating the direction of higher ground, and the unique, bioluminescent fungi that only grew toward the oldest trees. They were deep within the forest when the danger struck. A sudden, violent downpour transformed a winding stream into a raging torrent. A flash flood, common but deadly in the Ethelwood's steep ravines. "Up, now!" Rion yelled, his voice cutting through the roar of water. He scrambled up the slick, moss-covered trunk of a titanic canopy tree, using specialized climbing spikes and his bare hands. Alara followed, hampered by her backpack and less sure footing. The water rose with terrifying speed, threatening to sweep her away. As she reached for a precarious vine, her footing gave way. She slipped, plunging several feet toward the churning brown water. Rion didn't hesitate. He dropped down immediately, catching her wrist in a vice-like grip, just inches above the floodline. The force of her drop nearly tore his hand from the bark, but he held fast, his muscles straining, his face set in fierce determination. "Climb! Don't look down," he commanded, his voice raw. Alara found purchase, scrambling upward until they both reached a secure, mossy ledge high above the flood's reach. They collapsed side by side on a thick branch, adrenaline coursing through them, the roar of the water below a constant threat. Rion's breathing was ragged, his arms scraped and bleeding where he had braced himself. Alara's eyes were wide, fixed on him. Her hand instinctively went to his injured arm. "Rion, you could have been swept away. You sacrificed your position." He simply shook his head, his chest heaving. "The forest protects those who respect its life. We share this journey. Your map is useless without you." His green eyes, usually so guarded, held a deep, intense sincerity. The raw, shared moment of facing death, high above the roaring river, broke down the final barrier between them. There was a silent, powerful acknowledgement of trust and a burgeoning electric attraction that transcended their professional roles. The danger had cemented their dependence and deepened their intimacy in a profound, life-altering way. Ryan's tracking led them to a circular clearing where the air grew unnaturally still, saturated with a thick, silver-green mist. "The first marker," Ryan whispered, his hand going to the knife sheathed at his belt. "The Sentinel's field. The mist is highly hallucinogenic. It turns your fears against you. We must move carefully." At the center of the clearing stood the Sentinel, an ancient, moth-covered automaton. Metallic, but almost seamlessly blended with the forest, its single-lens eye glowing softly. As they entered, a low, mechanical voice echoed around them, its tone simultaneously ancient and computerized. Block quote: "Intruders from the periphery. To pass, solve the riddle of the Ethelwood's heart." A block quote. "It's a forest defense system," Alara realized, pulling out a compact analysis device, likely powered by ancient geothermal energy. "I can probably bypass the logic gate if I can analyze its interface." Ryan shook his head sharply. "No, that will only provoke its defense mechanisms. The Sentinel is not a machine. It's a filter. It guards against those who use logic to exploit the forest. We must use its own language." The Sentinel posed the riddle. "I am born of the water that fears the sun. I give life where nothing can grow. And the one who names me must first learn to let go. What am I?" Alara immediately started compiling logical possibilities. Fog, silt, spores. It's a cyclical nutrient compound. The answer is either biohumus or maybe a specialized lichen. "You focus on what the forest gives," Ryan argued, frustration marking his face. "You must focus on what the forest demands." "The answer must be philosophical, about conservation, not botany." Their sudden, passionate disagreement, fueled by the stress and their differing worldviews, pushed them to a breaking point. You rely too much on ancient mystique, Ryan. I rely on measurable data. We need to find the answer quickly, Ilara insisted, throwing her hands up. And you rely too much on cold numbers, Ilara. The world is not a sequence of numbers. That is why you fail to see the truth. Ryan countered, stepping closer, his intense green eyes burning into hers. The argument dissolved into silence, as the intense, unacknowledged attraction between them surged forward. The proximity, the adrenaline, and the shared purpose of the past days had created an undeniable tension. The difference in their approach, logic versus intuition, was the very thing drawing them together. Ryan took a deep, steadying breath, his voice softening, a profound admission underlying his words. We must learn to let go of our biases to see the heart of the forest, and each other. Ilara's eyes softened, recognizing the double meaning. She looked away from the riddle, looked at Rion, and the answer clicked into place, simultaneously logical and philosophical. The water that fears the sun, the life where nothing grows, the letting go, Ilara whispered, her eyes meeting his, a shared understanding finally emerging. The answer is shadow. Preface. The Sentinel's lens flickered. Correct. Only the shadow protects the secrets of the deep. You may pass. A section of the ground slid open, revealing a dark, root-lined passage descending into the earth. The passage spiraled downward, lined by massive ancient tree roots that formed a living tunnel. They emerged into a colossal subterranean space, the Hidden Grove. It was breathtaking. A chamber beneath the forest's heart, illuminated by millions of glowing sapphire blue fungi that adhered to the roots and rock formations, casting a soft, otherworldly light. At the center lay the sunken temple, not a ruin of stone, but a living, interwoven structure of petrified wood and crystal. Ryan led Ilara to a crystalline console within the temple. He pressed his tattooed wrist against a sensor, and the surface flickered to life, projecting a holographic library of information. This is what you sought, Ilara, Ryan said, his voice reverent. The temple is not a physical place to be excavated. It is the repository of my people, the original keepers of the Afflewood. These are the botanical secrets, remedies for global blights, formulas for soil regeneration, knowledge on achieving perfect symbiotic balance. Ilara walked slowly through the holographic projections, her cartographer's desire for knowledge fully satisfied, but now profoundly changed by her experience. This isn't just medicine, Rion. This is a manifesto. A guide to saving the world, all hidden here. Why? Why keep it secret? Rion faced her, shedding the last of his professional reserve, to protect it from those who would use it for profit, not life. We keep the forest silent, so the knowledge can survive. My ancestors charted this place, not to find it, but to guard it. Your map was a key, but also a test. And did I pass the test? She asked, her voice soft, standing close enough that the blue light of the fungi reflected in her eyes. Rion reached out, tracing the outline of her jaw with his finger. You put life before technology. You listened to the wind before your compass. You saved my life, and you found the answer through partnership. You passed. The air in the hidden grove, still, ancient, and scented with sweet exotic pollen, became charged with the intensity of their shared commitment to the knowledge and to each other. The isolation and profound beauty of the hidden space allowed no more barriers. In a sacred place, under the silent, glowing canopy of roots, they abandoned the roles of cartographer and guide. Their union was a passionate, natural synthesis, a testament to the powerful, life-affirming connection forged in danger, respect, and a shared purpose to protect the heart of the world. In that moment, Ilara realized the greatest treasure was not the knowledge itself, but the partnership that allowed her to truly understand its value. H3. The final leg of the journey was quiet. The path marked by a profound change in the dynamic between Ilara and Ryan. Ilara carried the temple's knowledge, a compact, crystalline archive, but she carried it with a new understanding. It was not for extraction, but for advocacy. She understood now that the life she lived, the world of concrete and commerce, needed the wisdom of the Aethelwood to survive. Ryan guided them back toward the periphery, no longer rushing, but pausing to appreciate the forest's quiet majesty. They emerged into the full, warm light of the sun, leaving the deep, cool shadows behind. At the very edge of the forest, where the wildness met the cultivated land, Ilara turned to Ryan. "I have the data. I will use my influence, my maps, and my resources to create an international conservation barrier around the Aethelwood. No exploitation, no entry. I will secure the forest's future, and in turn, secure your people's safety and silence." Rion smiled, a rare gentle expression that transformed his features. He reached into his worn leather pouch and pulled out a small, intricately carved compass made of pale, durable wood. It had a single, delicate needle that moved without magnets, tracking an invisible energy field only he could perceive. "Take this, Ilara," he said, placing the wooden compass in her hand. "It will not guide you by true north, but by the true path. It works by the heart's own gravity. It will always show you the way back to the Aethelwood, and to me." Ilara felt the warmth of the wood and the weight of the promise. Their final kiss was a blend of sorrow and deep hope, a quiet agreement to endure the distance for the sake of their shared commitment. Ryan turned back, melting seamlessly into the tree line, becoming one with the forest that was his home and his secret. Ilara stood alone, the setting sun painting the sky in fiery hues. The physical journey was over, but her purpose had just begun. She clutched the wooden compass and realized the most profound truth she had learned in the silence of the forest. The greatest courage is not the fearlessness of the adventurer, but the quiet commitment of the protector, and that the only enduring legacy is the one built on the balance between taking only what you need and giving back what the world deserves. She had traded a career as a finder of lost things for a life dedicated to preserving them, and in doing so she had found her true direction. Jawed. Pages. Unpublished. Dates, timestamp.